Hey guys, my name is Tyler, and today I want to show you how to rig the Z-Man Finesse TRDs in 5 different ways. You've probably rigged this 1 or 2 different ways and have been fishing it for a couple years at this point, but what I want to do is show you its versatility, a couple different ways that you ought to be rigging it if you're not already, and hopefully you come away from this video just thinking a little bit outside the box about how to use this bait in particular. Do me a quick favor and click 2 buttons down below the title of this video. First is the like button, the thumbs up down below on the left hand side, and over to its right is the red subscribe button. Click that and turn on the notifications to see more content like this in the future. And let's get right into it. First is the standard Ned rig, or the OG Midwest Finesse rig. This is a very simple rig that consists just of a mushroom style jig head with an exposed hook and a roughly 3-inch do nothing soft plastic bait. Speaking of do nothing, that's the beauty of this particular bait from Z-Man. The Finesse TRD is buoyant and will stand straight up when on a mushroom style jig head, and it's also made from Elastec, which will resist tearing fish catch after fish catch. The Ned rig, released by Z-Man, was designed specifically so that those Midwest Finesse anglers, the originators of this technique, could catch upwards of 100 fish in a 4-hour fishing excursion, all on one single plastic bait. The weight of the jig head typically ranges from 1/20th to 1/5 of an ounce, but lighter is better for this application. This right here is a 1/10 ounce Z-Man Finesse Shrooms head, and this is a 1/10 ounce Z-Man Nedlocks head. You can tell the difference between these two hooks is the bait keeper and the gauge of wire on the hooks. The Nedlocks is a little bit thicker wire and has that more hardcore bait keeper on it. And all we're gonna do to rig this up is take our bait and line it up to see roughly where it's going to come out. Then we're gonna find the seam alongside the bait. There is a seam. And then we're gonna follow the seam and thread our bait straight down the middle and poke out roughly where we visualized. I'm going to push the meat of the bait up over the keeper, pull it out to straighten for a good presentation. Elastec can be a little bit tricky to rig, so if you find that you've got a significant bulge or bend in the bait after you've rigged it up, I'd recommend just pulling it off and re-threading it on there, okay? Number 2 is the Weedless Ned Rig. The Ned Rig is awesome, but it does like to hang up a fair amount. The shape of the head is part of it, but the exposed hook can really be an issue when fishing around certain types of cover or debris. So if you're snagging up on wood or vegetation, I'd recommend going to a hook like this, the Weedless Shrooms by Z-Man. This one has a wire weed guard, as you can see, and all we're gonna do to rig this one up is pull this wire weed guard apart, kind of spread it, and then we're gonna rig this exactly like we did with the last one. We're going to find the seam on the side of the bait, and we're just going to thread it straight down the pipe if we can, and push the meat up over that keeper. Looks like I did not thread it on far enough, so you see what I'm left with here is a bend in the bait, and we'll just go ahead and re-rig. And pull around. That doesn't look too straight either. I told you Elastec can be tricky to rig, guys, right? Just gonna follow the seam to the point. We're gonna pull out and push the meat of the bait up over that keeper. And now we've rigged it too far. Unbelievable. We'll thread, thread, thread. Come out at the point that we just visualized. Push the bait up over the keeper and then straighten it out for a nice presentation.
And then what I'll do is fix the weed guard back to roughly where we had it.
Guys, number 3 is the lightweight Texas rig. This is a super cool rigging of the Finesse TRD that I've only seen mentioned like once before. You're gonna go ahead and grab a light bullet weight, like a 1/8 ounce tungsten I've got here, and a smaller EWG style hook like a 2/0 or 3/0 that I've got here. This is a Gamakatsu 3/0. And now, just like a standard Texas rig, all we're gonna do is go in the head and out the chin of the bait. Gonna push it up, over and around the hook. We're gonna twist once we get to the bend. Once it's through, we will line up to see where the bait should come out. Bend it back, push it straight through the back of the bait. And lastly, pull it back and tuck it in to texpose the bait like that. Now it's totally weedless, and if we thread on a small bullet weight like that 1/8 ounce tungsten I've got there, you can flip it out just like you would any other downsized Texas rig with a creature or craw bait on it, but you're gonna give the fish a little bit of a different look. I personally don't peg the weight for this application because I like a little separation from the weight. With this bait being so buoyant, I prefer the separation there to let the bait do its work. Okay. Number 4 is a Finesse Jig trailer. Maybe you haven't thought about this one much either, but the Finesse TRD is an awesome bait on the back of a jig. A do-nothing trailer is what you want when using a Finesse Jig in cold water, after a front, or when downsizing in general. So go ahead and try this bait on the back of a stand-up finesse cut football jig like this 1/2 ounce jig from Jewel, or on more of a standard finesse jig that'll stand up like this 3/16 ounce Z-Man. To rig it up, pretty straightforward, but we're gonna match up the colors here since this matches so perfectly. We're gonna line it up, see where it comes out roughly. To rig it, I'm gonna grab the weed guard like a trigger and pull it down. Start threading, threading, threading. Come out where you marked. Push the bait hard up over the keeper. And then pull it to straighten out. And there you are. Fix that weed guard a bit. Now to fish this, I'm gonna throw it out and let it sit. After a while, I'm gonna move it maybe a couple of inches or give it a single hop or two, and then I'm gonna let it sit for an extended period of time. And number 5 is a drop shot. If you're getting caught on the bottom or you're stirring up too much debris with your presentation, try presenting the bait to the fish up off the bottom with a drop shot or a Jika rig or Tokyo rig, nose hooked or rigged wacky style. First, you're gonna tie a Palomar knot. This right here is a Gamakatsu Weedless Wacky size 1 hook. Then to that tag line, we're gonna tie our drop shot weight. My preference is a 3/16 ounce cylindrical weight like this one here. Now with a shorter worm or stick bait like this one, I prefer it nose hooked instead of wacky rigged. You just don't get a lot of action when wacky rigged. I'd probably use the big TRD or finesse worms or even fatties if wacky rigging on a drop shot. So for this bait, all we're gonna do after it's rigged up, after we've tied it, is come straight through the nose and put this weedless guard on there, and then the nose can, the bait can swing freely if it would like, and that's what it's going to look like. Okay, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of these rigs. Did I miss something? Do you guys rig it a different way that I didn't cover? Did you learn something new? Let me know down below. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.